You're listening to Secret Sonics, a podcast exploring the creative side of music production. Hello guys, welcome back to Secret Sonics. I am your host, Ben Wallach. Before we get into this episode, I want you to please take a moment, if you haven't done so yet, leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. That will really help this podcast move forward. Thank you so much, and here's the interview. My guest today is Amit Golan. Amit is a music producer and recording, mixing, and mastering engineer based out of Jerusalem, Israel. He is also the founder of Supersonic Studios. For over 25 years, Amit has worked with some of the top musicians in Israel, producing many well-known artists, including the Moshav Band, Rida, Yonatan Razel, YM, and many more. His production and mixing work are known for their uncompromising quality, striving always to get the best out of the artist, the production, and himself. I've known Amit for a few years already. We're co-Jerusalem music producer, mixing people, and it's a real pleasure for you to join us on the show. Welcome to the show, Amit.
Wow, thanks for having me, Ben.
Amazing.
It's a pleasure to be you.
Awesome. So tell us a bit about how you got started getting involved in music production.
Oh, that was a long time ago in a galaxy far away. Basically, music was always in my life in a big amounts and big way, and I always listened to music. Always been in there trying to understand what's behind the playbacks, behind the songs, how it's been created, how it's been done. And when I got released from the army, basically, that was my first time I encountered the professional sound industry. I started to work as soon as I went to Yoav Gera Sound School. It was the famous sound school in Tel Aviv.
I checked it out, actually.
Oh,
yeah,
you checked it out?
I went to go see it. Yeah.
I don't know how it is now. I was there 20 more years ago. I've been there for 1 year, and I worked at the beginning as an assistant at a friend's studio, which was a very cool studio in Oshistkin called Studio 51. He got me into the things, and he pretty much spent with me a lot of time on the console. It was a Tascam console, beautiful, warm sounding console. I remember, which we recorded a lot of music there, days and nights. We burned a lot of hours there. And this is how I started, basically, doing a lot of young Jerusalem bands, a lot of rock and roll. It was CDs, projects that took all the Jerusalem bands, and it was kind of a context, and I worked all around the clock, basically. That was my starting point right there, together with the Yoav Gera Sound School, which was more theory, a little bit of studio work over there, but not really something.
You really learn when you get your hands, dirty.
Well, you learn on the theory was good part of sitting in a classroom.
Yeah,
it was a good structure and basic, but if you don't meet the real situation, you don't know how to handle it really. So a lot of practice, a lot of productions, a lot of recordings. As an engineer, many years doing engineering solely. Producing came up later.
Mm-hmm. How did that happen?
Well, as we said, you get, practicing, engineering and working with bands, the mileage you get your ideas for yourself. What sounds better, how it will sound better, what way to capture it, and what way to present it. So, throughout the years, when I did a lot of projects on my own, basically with no producer, I took the production side to myself. Mm-hmm. So that's how it started, basically, because a lot of the artists don't really go out with the producer. Basically, more around then. I think today the producers are more common all around, and every guy that actually got a little studio place is also producing from the very beginning.
Yeah.
For me, it took more time. It took more time to get into the production world.
But you grew up more in that, you kind of came up in that more old school tradition of you're working in a studio, things are, you're engineering, and then eventually you move up to the producer thing.
Oh yeah, very old school. I began with 2-inch tapes machines and consoles which sounded great.
Yeah.
I worked with different consoles, different studios, and different platforms. And I really dug into the engineering work at the beginning. But then also, when you never finish with that, but, you take another, glimpse of things and another side of things. And that's when my production came into reality, to life, basically.
Amazing. Was there a song or album that really opened your mind to the possibilities of what you could accomplish with music production?
Well, yeah. Well, it's more than one album. I remember as a young engineer, one of my first production work was the Moshav Band.
Yeah.
It should be.
I think they're known as Moshav now, right?
Moshav right now, yeah. So the Moshav was their first album I produced, and I produced it together with Danny Roth, which was their drummer. And over there, it's really everything came up really fast, and the talent was amazing.
Yeah, those guys are amazing.
So
I'll put a link to the album in the show notes so people can have a listen.
Yeah, thanks. So in any event, over there, I really understood the possibilities, as you said, and I really understood what can I do with young artists, talented as Yehuda Solomon and David Swirsky. They are the core of the Moshav Band.
Yeah.
And I think, it was a raw production, as you heard probably. The grunge time, Seattle times.
Yeah, it's definitely inspired by that Pearl Jam.
Oh, yeah. For
Nirvana thing.
For sure. And although when I hear it today, I'm shocked, because I would mix it totally different today, or I would approach it totally different today. I think for that time, it was great experience, and it came out great also. I think they got picked up by Sony after that album, or maybe the other one. I produced two. Mm-hmm. They picked up by Sony. Days. That was an album that came up later, which I produced also for them, and Sony picked them up after that album. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it still has a lot of, even if it's not as sonically, perfect as you would do it today, it still has emotional impact for the listener,
Oh, yeah. I think it made some echoes, that album. I remember it was very popular. And some things that I'll mix yesterday, I'm not happy with it today.
Yeah.
20 years ago, it's a big difference.
Sure.
Big gap.
Sure. So today, what are you looking for in an artist when you're trying to see if it's going to be a good fit working together?
Well, two things. 80% of the whole issue for me is the song itself. So if I get a good song, right, to a certain extent, you can work on the performances, on the vocals, on the arrangement, on the recording, on everything else. But if I got a good song, that's the key for me. 80% of everything for me is a good song. The other thing is work. Work for me, work for the artist, work for the players. So that's what I'm looking for at the first glimpse of things. The other thing is the personality. An artist that I can really work with and not, fool around and not getting into things that I don't want to get in terms of, not straightforward people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Something that workable, basically. Workable, that's the...
Someone that you'll enjoy spending time with, but also be productive with.
Enjoy is one thing, and able to work with is another. There's a lot of nice people, and they got the own set mindset of things, how to get things done and stuff like that. And if I'm producing somebody, it's not that they don't have a say, but I know what to do not to make errors. And if somebody is not really there to work with me, I think I will pass. But still, there's a lot of people that I do select to work with and select me to work with, and some great results along the way. Yeah.
Awesome. So what are you listening for the first time you hear a song? And that said, would you rather hear like a live raw version or a demo that somebody brings you?
Basically, I would, if the guy is a singer-songwriter, I would sit him down in my studio with acoustic guitar and let him just play the songs. I want to hear it firsthand. I want to hear how he reacts to what he's playing. I want to hear how it sounds in real time, live. Nothing that got selected or filtered before, like a demo. I want to hear it how it sounds really. And that's the first thing I would do in any production. I want to hear the song. And I want to hear how it's been performed. And, later on you can get into the form, the arrangement, the tonality, the transposition, so first thing really is to sit down with the artist and hear his songs, hear if I can help him.
Yeah.
Maybe I cannot.
Are you listening for anything specifically?
I'm listening to a good song. I want to hear a good song. I want to hear the structure. I want to hear if he connects to it in a way that can come out and connects to a different people. Mm-hmm. Also, if he sing it in the right key and if that key is right to him, but that's more detailed stuff I would get into later. First of all, I want to hear really this song. This is the most important thing. What's behind the thing? If it will capture me, if it will turn me on. As soon as I hear a good song playing in my studio, as somebody comes in and play it to me, I will have arrangement ideas. Things will pop up to my head the first time or the second time I will hear it.
Yeah.
And as soon as that happened, I know I got something in there. Something clicked, and it will be a nice experience to dip into.
Amazing. So generally speaking, how do you get the ball rolling when it comes to starting a production?
Oh, okay. So ball rolling in terms of technical, how I do it, or?
Yeah, it could be either.
Well,
do you do pre-production? I
would approach differently to different types of recordings, at different types of production. Basically, I would start with the guide tracks, sitting down, even live. I don't need to track it by tracks. I just have to have it cut down to a click, and listen to what I got behind the glass. I have a glass.
Yeah,
so
unlike me. We're currently recording this in my studio here in Jerusalem, and Amit's studio is down the block, and he's got a 2-room setup.
Yeah, which is, it's nice, but you can also work with headphones. Still, what I'm saying is that I will cut down, the guide tracks. And first of all, I would look at the form of the song. I would see if it works for me, if it's driving me, and if it can work later on. If not, I will try to rearrange the form of the song, maybe the key of the song, if it's not, suitable in that time, if the singer is, singing too high or too low, or the song itself, how it sounds in different keys. Maybe it will sound better a half step up or half step down, or maybe a full one. I don't know. But that's the first thing I ever do. Well, from here, it really goes to different, directions. Sometimes I will select to start with the rhythm section. Sometimes I will select to start with programming. And let's say not too long ago, I recorded an album with Shlomo Katz, with all kinds of well-known, Jewish artists. That each one did like one song of himself, interpretation of somebody else's music. Zusha and Chaim David and Yosef Karduner and Shlomo Katz himself. And
these are all well-known Jewish musical artists.
Right, they're in the Jewish scene.
In case you're not aware.
They're in the Jewish scene. Very talented folks. And the thing is that over there, I've selected to start working not with rhythm section, not with programming the drums, not going down from the bass. I was selected to work firstly with the piano, because that was the spirit of the project, of the songs, and felt better to me to start with the piano, to make it the main thing, the real thing, and to arrange over that, to get what I wanted from the piano player, and not going from the ground up, from drums, bass, programming, stuff like that. So there's different ways to different productions that I will take. Firstly, at the beginning, for sure.
Yeah. I guess it depends on the vibe that you're
getting.
On
the vibe, on the songs. On the songs, yeah, basically.
Do you ever do pre-production with like a band? Is that something that you do?
Well, I did that before. With a couple of bands. Went into a rehearsal room and start to,